Are we ready to fire this up? Is it gonna work?
It's gonna work.
All right, let's give it a try. Let's see what she does. Yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, we are back, and we're back on the K5, and of course we got Mr. Rick Love and Ryan Zicker here from Vintage Air. So on the last episode, we installed this Vintage Air front runner kit for the big block Chevy, cleaned this whole front end up, and now we're running a serpentine belt. It's what is it, 6-rib?
Yes.
So now we're running a 6-rib serpentine belt instead of those shitty old V belts. Very efficient. Comes with a 170 amp alternator, a power steering pump from Detroit Speed. It's real hot shit. Got the Stewart reverse rotation water pump and a sand and AC compressor for the all-important, most important thing on your vehicle, air conditioning. That's right, big boy stuff, not sweating. Hashtag Grundle butter. We've got the condenser going in up front, and then of course the under dash unit. What do you call this thing?
Gen 4 Magnum based evaporator. Yep.
Oh, sick. See?
It's Magnum.
Yeah. So, and then of course under the dash is going their Gen 4 Magnum evaporator coil and heater and all this. So basically it takes all that nasty stuff, that bulky mess of the blower and all that that used to sit right here and take up valuable engine bay space, tucks it neatly under the dash. It's much lighter, it's much more efficient. All the electronics come with it. So we're gonna kick it in, get some holes drilled, get some wires run. Let's cut to the montage. So starting with the front of the car, we got the condensing unit here. Now, Rick, I saw you assembling this off the vehicle first. Is that just kind of like typical of what you do with these?
Yep. Usually assemble it on the bench. Like you mentioned, this is the condenser. This is where you dissipate the heat that you absorbed inside the car. Just a heat exchanger. So we want it in front of the radiator where you're going to get good airflow through it. Again, like any heat exchanger, you get airflow across it. That's what gets rid of your heat. So directions show us how. We've got brackets that'll mount this in factory holes that are already in your core support. And we're gonna assemble, we're gonna put the receiver dryer on here. We've got some hard lines that we're gonna put on. When you're doing this, you always wanna use just a little bit of refrigerant oil on both the threads and the O-rings.
So you don't basically cut it up.
So you're not rolling or cutting the O-ring, which is a common source for a leak. And I'll always put just a little bit of refrigerant oil on the threads as well. Makes the nut go in. Anytime you'll know you've got it, you seat it first and then bring the threads up and it's gonna go real smooth by hand. So never have to force it. Same thing with all of them. That way you know you've got a nice smooth, you're not gonna gall the threads, you're not gonna make a mess and strip things and ruin your day. So we're gonna finish assembling the condenser kit and then we'll bolt it to the core support.
All right, so in the interior here, we got Ryan working on the drilling some holes out for the lines, right?
Yep, so basically what I did, first I started on the outside, put the firewall cover up on the firewall. There's a few factory holes you line up with first, put screws in the factory holes, and then you can mark the rest of the holes and match drill them on the outside. So I match drilled all the holes around the perimeter on the outside. Then I came to the inside because these large holes here that we have to hole saw, there's a fender, inner fender in here, can't get the hole saw in with a straight shot. So I brought the firewall cover on the inside, lined it up on the screws that I had just installed.
So you use that as a template, basically?
Yep, use it as a template, marked, drilled, and now I have everything for the lines to come through. So now I'm gonna go ahead and install the firewall cover.
Nice. And so that firewall cover is gonna go on this on the firewall on this side, but these are the holes he's talking about. Yep. So there's no way to really get those because of the, you get a little light going in here.
Fender here, yeah.
So because of that fender, you know, there's no way to really get the hole saw in there. So bringing that to the inside, using that as a template, it makes it easy, it makes it much cleaner, and then you can go in and deburr that and just pop that bad boy on and you're good to go.
And these are clearance holes for the grommets. Once we put this in place and get it all sealed up with the grommets in, this will act as the firewall.
Actually, here, I've got a example of that. So on my C10, you can see this is how that'll turn out looking. And these are all grommeted, so that's all neatly in there. It's nice and clean, but that bolts to a lot of the factory holes. There's a few that you do have to drill out, but this is kind of your end result with that. All right, tip time.
Tip time. All right, so I'm getting ready to put our hard lines on our heater and on the evaporator. And something that came to me that has happened with our customers sometimes, we manufacture these heaters in-house. And when we do, when we ship them pressurized with dry nitrogen. So they've got plugs on them. So when you unscrew this, and I've already unscrewed it, so I've let out the pressure. When you unscrew this and you pull the little cap out, it's gonna hiss, it's gonna be the nitrogen escaping. There's a rubber plug right here, and just pull that rubber plug out. Normally it's in the cap like this. Sometimes, like this one right here, this rubber plug is seated a little deeper into the fitting. Sometimes people don't see that rubber plug. And so they'll take their fitting, they'll put their O-ring, they'll stick it on like this, they'll tighten it up, wrench it all down, put it in the truck, finish their whole installation, and then at some point they go to turn the heat on, they've got no heat. So make sure to pull the plug out. It's not supposed to be there, it's for shipping.
Look at the way that just cleans that up. Now, another thing I think is worth mentioning is that the thickness of that condenser is about almost half the size of this one. So it clears up a lot of space in the front there that you can put for more important things like oil coolers, trans coolers, power steering coolers, shit like that. So we got some more exciting stuff that came in for the K5 today. Got some of these Hooker super comp headers with titanium ceramic coating. Now, I got these because, as you can see, this side, the passenger side, is much more compact this way. And this is to clear that drive shaft. Right now, the headers that are on it are for a two-wheel drive truck. Hooker came through, got these in like a couple days. And I run the super comps on my C10. Bends are all nice, and look how thick that plate is. So this is nice because you don't get warping from it. So really good stuff. Also, went ahead and got a Optima blue top. It's a marine battery, so it's deep cycle. Some cool things about this battery is, one, it's sealed, so you can mount it in any position. You can mount the thing like, upside down, sideways if you want, whatever. Two, they make these in what they call a spiracell design, and they basically insert the individual cells into the case mechanically, which makes for a tight fit, makes the battery about 15 times more resistant to vibration than, let's say, like a typical flooded lead acid battery. So this blue top, it comes with SAE post, and then it also comes with these little guys, these little threaded terminals, so we can put stuff like all my accessories on, which normally have to be jammed on top of the positive lead there. So that's nice, it cleans that up a lot. So when this is fully charged, it's extremely resistant to damage from cold weather and protected from freezing up to basically -30, which is good because I'm going to be doing a lot of driving in the mountains here pretty soon. So we're going to slap it in here and make sure that we can actually have all of the electricity that we need and stop having all of the issues that come from having a shitty old battery or crappy wiring. So now we got a new alternator, we got new batteries, we got a new wiring harness. This thing should rip. For a part that's normally complex, or seems like it would be the harder part to do on these, this is a little bit different from the old style, and this is a little easier.
Yeah, this is going to be a little easier. This is easy clip. Basically, because this truck, we didn't know exactly what all your plans might be in the future, Zach, and also we didn't know how you might want to change the routing of the hoses. So instead of using our SureFit kit, standard hose kit that's already pre-crimped, we're using easy clip, so we can do it however we want. Just real quick, the fitting, the clips, the cage, and the pliers, this is the whole deal that we need on hand to make a kit, to make a hose.
So slide the clips on first.
Slide the clips on first. Push the fitting in. This little cage here, we'll snap the cage on, run the clips into their little slots. Lock it like that right there, here. That's it. So now you're crimped. You don't have to take it anywhere, you're done.
So with this, we're gonna run straight off here and just right into there because one of the issues I might be having here is that I'm gonna have to run a fender well header, or I may have to run. I'm not sure yet, gotta do all the measuring. But for the new engine on this, the primaries are gonna have to be so big that they may not actually fit in between the frame and the block. So might have to just go over the frame and then through the fender well, which will mean I have to cut out a big chunk of this down here. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, we are at a close for the night, but we're in a good place because all of the hoses are run. The electrical stuff is pretty much run. This is just mocked in. Still got to do the lead to the compressor, but the lines are all in, and the interior stuff is pretty much wrapped up. But Rick, you want to walk us through this, your switch panel here? Because this is pretty cool how that works.
This is a complete replacement control panel that's included with the kit. It's a LED backlit PC board, so it's very thin. The bracket we make for it just bolts it into the factory location. And gotta give it a quick test here. Turn the ignition on and blower's working.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Turn on the AC. We've got a compressor signal that will turn it on. Turn on our dash lights. It's backlit, adjustable with the dash lights.
Oh wow.
So
you got the dimmers working on there.
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
We're in good shape tomorrow. We got to do duct hoses to the defrost and to the dash vents and do a few wrap-ups like that.
Nice, I like it. There you have it. We're gonna go home for the night and then we'll be back tomorrow and finish this thing up. All right, we're back in action. Final stretch of the AC system here. Getting everything tidied up now, all the wiring done. Got to get some hoses in. Ryan's already got the drain drilled out right there. Now remember, you always want this to be dead straight down because you don't want any like weird kinks or anything like that. So you don't have any water just kind of pooling in, I don't know, anywhere you don't want it. Especially for like this, an old truck, which is highly prone to things like rust. Not cool. You don't want more of that. So there you have it. Let's keep moving. Almost done, baby. All right, the time is here. Boys, what are you thinking here? Are we good to go? Is this thing ready to fire up, or?
I think it's time. I think so. We're pretty happy with it. It's looking good. I think we're ready.
Okay. So what we have done since our last checkup, we've knocked out quite a bit of stuff. We had to do a little bit of modification to my core support so I could run this trans cooler, just because we didn't want to run it in front of that condenser, right? Because you want that thing is.
We want some nice cool air on that condenser. It's a heat exchanger, so we want to have some nice cool air on that.
Okay. So yeah, we didn't want to make the AC work too hard, you know, and not be functional, because that's most important here. But trans is going to get its cooling, so we're good. We got all of our breakers and got all of our relays up there, and man, this looks so much cleaner. Walk me through just real quick what we've done in the engine bay here, and then we'll move on to the inside.
So we installed the big block front runner first. Once we got that installed, Rick installed the condenser kit, and then we went ahead and ran the hoses, installed the evaporator inside, ran all the duct hose and everything, and then wired it up and here we are. So the only thing really that is lacking still is putting the dash back together, the dash pad.
Hey, let's walk inside. Let's take a look. So, okay, interior.
Like most of our SureFit kits, this one utilizes our Gen 4 Magnum model, basically our module that we start with. Heat cool defrost, electronically controlled, separate heat and cool coils with a blend air door between them, so it's a whole lot like your late model system in your late model car. And it's a bolt-in system, basically works in recirculating mode all the time. We're not bringing any outside air in, we're using the recirculated air from inside the vehicle to keep it nice and clean and cool. New defrost ducts are in place, all the duct hoses are run to them. We've run all our wiring, the new control panel's in place.
Yeah.
Goes really well with your gauges and your dash. Clean installation, ready to go, ready for some cool air blowing on you now.
Nice. All right, so are we ready to fire this up? Is it gonna work?
It's gonna work. It's gonna work.
I'm just giving him shit. All right, let's give it a try. Let's see what she does. Let's go take a look. All right. I can't believe how much quieter that is than that old V-belt system. Hell
A lot
yeah.
more compact. Everything is tight. Again, when you go to put your new motor in, the deck height doesn't matter with that big block front run or anything. It just bolts basically to the water pump, so you'll be able to slide everything off, slide it onto that new motor, and you'll be ready to roll.
Hell yeah, all right. We gotta check the all important. Yeah, buddy. See that? Oh, look at that. I like how it's like a soft,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't just go all the way right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Awesome. Well, there we go. Now all that's left is basically you got to get the AC charged up. You're driving cool. Boys,
Right
this is exciting times.
Another good time.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for coming out. Wait, give me a foot dab. There we go. Wait, get it. We gotta work on that with you. It's all right. There you go. You got it. All right. Another AC system down. K5's getting closer. Stay tuned, because it's gonna get only rowdier from here. That's a wrap! Oh, a trick for that is actually if you use white vinegar, you can clean that out and it comes off really easy, but don't have any here, so whatever. The more you know.